I just want to talk about a few different things that you can work on if you want to increase the amount of confidence that you have. One of the ways that you can do this is by basically starting what's called a logic trap. It's essentially when you provide enough evidence consciously to disprove something that you might have a fear of. So, right now, that fear would be, well, I'm not confident. Okay. And one of the ways that you can kind of dispel this is by going through your memory and seeing, oh, when I've been confident, whether it's asking someone out, or even something very simple as, a server got your food wrong, so then you ask them to fix it. Maybe it's asking for a promotion at work. Maybe it's, making sure you got the right place in line. It can really be anything. So once you have that one part, well, all you have to do is basically go and say, okay, well, it's obvious that it's obvious that it isn't that I'm not confident. It's that I'm not confident right now. Because then you have examples, so then it's just not true. You know that you are confident sometimes. So then it becomes a question of, okay, well, then how can I grow this confidence? How can I become more confident? And one of the ways that people can do this is by putting in a trigger. Uh, Essentially, all that is just thinking back to when you were very confident, maybe writing a story of all the details that happened, something very big, if you can, like a big event that transpired where you were very, very confident, uh, and just writing down every single detail that you can remember, um, like an entire story about that one event. And then all you have to do is basically put a trigger in or anchoring. What I normally do is I put it in right here in between the index finger and thumb and just hold on to it. Um, so once you get basically the mental image or the entire emotion of it, just pressing down on that anchor really does help. It helps a lot, especially when going into trying to match the emotional profile that you used to have, especially during that moment. And knowing that anytime that you press it, you're going to be confident, and anytime that you want to add on to it, you're going to be even more confident. We're going to get into that a little bit more too later on in the video. Another thing that you can do if you want to is by keeping your shoulders back, your chin up, taking long strides, um, speaking not necessarily in a lower tone of voice, but having a lower tone when you end sentences. Because generally, so for all of those, we're going to get into it, but for speaking, when people ask a question, they end it in an uptick. When people are ending in a statement, they end it in a downtick. So, in general, you want a lower tone of voice towards the end of a sentence to instill that you're not asking a question, you're making a statement. And it's really interesting going into different languages and different accents. It's generally seen that languages with the downtick or more of a lower tonality tend to be perceived as more logical, more science based, like German, and things like that. Whereas languages or accents that end in an uptick tend to be thought as more questionative or more romantic sometimes, like with French or like with British English. Is kind of seen as, um, you know, Brits are more curious or they're more inquisitive, I suppose. And that's kind of an observation about them. As for, keeping your chin up and your shoulders back, essentially it's all subconscious. So just like with the dog showing you their belly, it's basically saying, hey, I trust you. We're all animals. We're all, descended from animals and everything. So we still do have a lot of subconscious factors in it. A lot of body language profilers, a lot of body language professors and people who study it um, generally say about 70% of our communication is through body language, because you can't really fake body language. It's a very difficult thing to fake. You basically just have to believe in something and then present it. So there's a lot of telltale signs that generally just expose how you currently feel uh, in front of your actual words. So one of the things that people will do, especially if they're scared or if they feel threatened or anything, they'll turn their chin down. And this is because it's protecting the jugular. So it's a subconscious thing. When we feel fear, we want to protect ourselves. So we protect our organs, we protect anything that's vulnerable, right? Same reason why, if you, get hit in your undercarriage, you might grab it, you might protect it, even though the action already happened. You're still going to try to protect it because it's a vulnerable spot. So yeah, you're protecting your jugular whenever you put your head down. So most of the time, people want to keep their chin up, or at least parallel to the ground. Another thing, keeping your shoulders back, you're not protecting your organs. So it's basically the thought process of, I don't feel fear, I don't feel scared, so there's no reason to to um, to protect my chest, to protect my organs. And when other people see that you're not protecting it, they get the inference of, okay, they're not afraid of what I'm saying, so then they're confident in what they're saying. Same reason for diffusing situations. There was actually an experiment done a while ago where they took a pickpocket uh, after trial and everything, and a psychologist and a body language profiler. And they went to a supermarket. And what they did was they went through all the people who the pickpocket said, okay, well, who would you try to go for? And they basically broke down all of the movements and all the things that each one exhibited, and it matched what we're talking about right now. It matched that they had their shoulders in, they had their chin down, they took short strides because they're already basically showing a level of fear. And when you're in a mentality, it's easier to prolong that mentality than it is to change it. So if you're already feeling confident, it's going to be easier to feel confident in the future. So that's part of it as well. Um, but yeah, no, it's all backed up by science. It's all pretty cool. So yeah, and then let's see what else. Another thing, there was a study done on presidents, basically seeing, okay, well, how much agreeability there was when people communicate, um, especially through hand movements. And what they did was they looked at tapes, they looked at recordings of speeches that pre-presidents gave, so people who weren't elected yet, but they will become, or they are elected. And they went through how many hand gestures, how many movements they made. And it looks like JFK from, I think, 1960s. I'm not good at history. He made the most amount of gestures, and it shows that a lot of the times, and I think he won 49 out of 50 states, something like that. Um, But generally speaking, whenever people make a lot of hand gestures or a lot of gestures in general, it adds into the context. So people tend to understand them a lot more versus if they didn't do that. Um, so it really does help, the more that you can do hand gestures to explain what you're thinking, what you're saying, what you're doing. Um, and it also tags onto this thing called invading psychological space, which is basically the thought process of, okay, if someone's in a bus or in a space, how much space should I give them? If it's a crowded bus, a crowded space, you don't have to give someone that much space because it's not psychologically thought, it's not socially thought, uh, that you have to give them space because, well, there's an excuse. You can sit next to them. The place is packed. There's no reason to. Um, there's no reason to not. But if it's completely empty, you wouldn't sit next to a random person, or at least it would seem different, right? So especially if you're talking to another individual, just in general, the more hand gestures that you can do, the more sense that it will seem that you're a safe person. Because, and this sounds kind of silly, but essentially the subconscious thinks, okay, well, they're making a lot of hand gestures, they're moving their arms, and not a single time did they hurt me. If you made 10, 20, 50, 100 hand gestures around me, and not a single one was threatening, not a single one was going to attack me or anything, um, then obviously it's not a bad thing, you know. And another thing that you can do, if you want to basically just instill happiness or kindness, whenever you say a joke or whenever you say something that's happy or good, um, maybe putting your arm on their shoulder, or their hand or anything like that, because it associates positivity with your touch. Uh, Subconscious stuff, I know, but it really does work. And the more that you can do that, whether it's a joke, whether it's laughing, whether it's something very emotional in a good way, not a bad way, uh, it's not good to connect on negative emotional things in general. At least not in the beginning, um, because then it kind of becomes dependent on negativity, and that's not really what we want. But yeah, those small things can really add up and can really help, and I highly do recommend them. Yeah, so that's about it as far as confidence and how that can help you. Another really quick thing, just dressing appropriately. Whatever you believe that, uh, whatever outfit that you believe would add to your confidence, whatever outfit that you believe makes you look good, professional, just in general, it definitely helps because you're also coming in with the mentality that um, you wear. So if you perceive what you're wearing as kind of lazy, you're not going to think that you're doing that great or anything, which you kind of want to avoid.